Hey everybody, today we're going to make a notebook using just a few items that you got at home. I'll leave a link below of all my favorite items I love to use. So today I just have a cutting board, something to cut on. I'm using a metal ruler. You can use plastic, but I prefer metal. I've got some simple cardstock. I've also got some binder clips and some little scraps of paper so that you don't mess up the book. I like to use dot grid or craft paper when I make my journals, so that's what I have. I picked this glue up off of Amazon. It is bookbinding glue. You can use any glue, but bookbinding glue is what you want to use. Next, I found me some old comic book covers that I'm going to use for the back. Next is a nice ceramic blade. I like this one because they don't rust like the metal ones, so I picked this up as well. And I also have a corner punch. Again, not necessary, but it makes it look nice at the end. I originally got the idea from another YouTuber. I'll leave a link for her channel down below. But I originally got the idea from her. She actually made 3 different styles of notebook, but I found that this one was better. So in order to get a decent sized notebook, you're going to need about 20 to 30 pages. And you're going to want to fold them in half singly so that they bind well together instead of a notebook where they are stapled in the middle. A lot of times that doesn't allow the notebook to lay flat, so this to me seems to be the best way. So again, you just want to individually fold them in half. It is tedious work. It does take a long time, but I think at the end of the day, this was the better option for me. And it's fun just doing it, for myself instead of having to go out and buy one all the time. I use my ruler to make sure all my edges are flat. That way it holds together when I go to glue them together. The flatter they are, the better they. And again, this notebook doesn't have to be anything fancy. I had this old notebook laying around, so that's the paper that I'm using today. It can really be anything that you want to use, any kind of paper. So if you want to go out and buy some, that is totally up to you. Right now I have my scrap sheets of paper, and so I'm going to cut them the same size as the paper that I already folded. This way they glue to the paper better than me having to cut it after I've already glued everything together. So if I pre-cut, then I won't have that issue. Again, this part takes a while, but once you get everything measured and cut, it looks pretty good. The cardstock that I chose to use is just a simple cardstock from Dollar Tree. It's something that I picked up. All you want to really do is make sure that it is thicker than the paper that's going to go inside your journal. Other than that, there's nothing really special about the cardstock. You can pick it up on Amazon, go to your local Dollar Tree or dollar store and pick it up. So what I'm doing right now is I am making sure that they are cut to size so that they are the same size as my notebook. And doing it this way, I will create a front and a back. And as you can see, I made my 2 covers, so front and back right here. Keep the area clean. So let's get started on our front and back. These are the pieces that I cut earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my comic book covers. Again, I like these colors because I thought they were cool, so that's why I picked them. So let's start with the front cover first. Again, I like this glue because it actually came with this little piece here that you stick inside of the glue, and that makes sure that none of it actually dries out if you're using it or not using it. It doesn't all get stuck at the top. So we are going to glue our first piece of cardstock. You want to add a good amount of glue. I also like this one because it does have a little nozzle on it, so it's easy to kind of spread on. Make sure you place it exactly where you want it. Press down. And then I like to use my ruler to smooth everything out. Make sure that glue gets everywhere it's supposed to. It's good. And then we do the same for the back side. So while those pieces are drying, we will go ahead and glue the main part of our notebook journal. So this is where all of the glue and the binder clips come in, and I cut up this little notebook card here just to protect your notebook from the binder. From what I was shown, use about 2 or 3 binder clips and you place the glue between. Also what came with this glue was this little brush here. Kind of came with a whole little kit, so use this like 100 times. So once I put the glue in between the binder clips, I usually like to use the brush. So if you see here, I'm just going to put the glue all over it just to make sure that they all stick together. And then I'll use the brush to kind of smear them out and layer. Making sure I get all of the pages together, and the binder clips will help it stick together. Okay, while we let our main pages dry of our journal, I'm going to go ahead and cut up the front and the back, our 2 covers here, and go ahead and cut them to size. Remove all of that excess. I like to keep all of my scrap sheets of paper. You never know what you might use them for. Again, be very careful. Make sure you got your ruler. And now we'll do the same for the Okay, and we're done. Looks pretty good to me. Nice and flexy. Glue looks like it held pretty well. So let's move on to the next piece. So we're going to remove the clips, and then we're going to place them in other spots so we can glue what we didn't get to glue the first time. So while it's drying, I kept my scrap sheets of paper. I just like to use this for the spine of it. That's why I keep the scrap sheets of paper. We don't need anything fancy. And so I will let this dry. Alright, so I've let it dry. Let's check my handiwork. see how it did. Okay, looks like I got a little piece here I didn't glue, but that's fine. It can be fixed later. So now I got my two covers. So the next step would be to glue the covers on the fronts and the back. Alright, so I've let it dry. As you see, I fixed that piece that was hanging off. So I let that dry and held a clip on there. So now we're going to still go with the plan of attaching the front cover and the back cover. Alright, so with the covers, you want to make sure that you only put the glue on the edge. You're going to put that where the spine goes, and that way they only stick to that spine and it opens up like a traditional journal. So here we're gonna take our glue and again putting it along the edge. Again, I'll leave a link down below for this glue. I like it because it comes with this little nozzle for a little precision. And go ahead and smooth it out with my brush. And make sure I place it right along the edge here. And press down. Now we're going to do the same side, or not the same side, we're going to do the back side. So since we flipped it, we're going to do the reverse side. So make sure that we do that and we're still gluing it along the spine. Again, take my brush, spread it out, make sure it's even. And place it along the spine. To make sure it's firmly pressed, I like to take my handy dandy ruler and just smooth it off. And this way we make sure that glue goes everywhere it's supposed to go. And then time for more binder clip. And I'm making sure I'm putting them right along the edge so that the covers press to the rest of the journal. Now here, I'm just going to leave it time to do its drying thing. Let it dry for a while. Let's check the handiwork, see how it turned out. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to take my scrap sheet of paper from earlier, and this will create the rest of the spine. It'll protect those inner glued pieces that we did earlier. Cutting this, it doesn't have to be exact size. You can always fix it later. but we're going to glue this to the side there. It also adds a little extra color to the outside, matching that purple on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and use the bigger piece to give myself a little bit more room. And I'm going to try to get this as in the center as possible. Make sure I've got my glue all over, because it is going on the front and the back, as well as it has to cover that spine. This is a little tricky part because it's not all the way dry, but it's a fast drying glue. So kind of got to get it on there, hold it, and then use all of my thousands of binder clips to make sure it stays. So again, the longest part of this is actually the drying process. You're gonna want to take these off as soon as possible, but don't. Just give it time to dry and you'll be better for it. I actually created another journal prior to this. This one's just a sketchbook. And again, I like that it lays flat, and this is what I like about this design. So I used the scrap sheet of paper from the comics. So I got me a nice Wonder Woman spine there, and it's just been working out good so far. And so I wanted to make more of these. This has been drying for a little bit, so let's go ahead and take all my clips off to start the process of cutting. Again, very tedious part, but I want to make sure that it's all even and get it looking like the journal / notebook we all know and love. So let's get the rest of these off. It's pretty dry. Again, it takes a minute because you're cutting through about 20 to 30 pages. They're all folded, especially getting through that spine. And we're going to do this other side, which isn't as bad as the top, so we're lucky there, but it still needs to be even. Alright, next up is that fancy corner punch. Again, I got this off of Amazon. I'll leave a link below. It's got 3 different sizes, 10, 4, 7. I don't really pay attention to the sizes. I more so look at the picture, figure out which one I want to use for my corners, and I go with that. Again, the corner punch is not necessary. You don't need it. You could do this with, your knife and a quarter. I've tried, so you can also do that, but the corner punch makes it look nice. As you can see, I kind of messed up there on the front. That just means I didn't let the glue dry long enough. So if you don't want that, make sure you let your glue dry long enough. It's my journal. I'm not really concerned how it looks as long as it's usable. And so I'm not worried about it. But again, this corner punch does about, I think, 6 to 8 sheets, and you just continue on. Okay, and here's our final product. It looks nice. If you like what you've seen, like, subscribe, comment. As usual, I'll leave the links below, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.